Hey, what's up everybody? It's Luke and you're watching Luke the Gathering. Thanks for checking out the channel. I appreciate you watching as always. All one or two of you that actually watch this channel, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Today was our first Aetherdrift Friday night draft, so the first time we've drafted the set at the store. I had a great time. Today's actually Valentine's Day, but we still had two pods of, I believe, my pod had 7, and the other pod had, I believe, 8. So there were 15 people there on Valentine's Day. So, you know, either we're all geeks and nerds with no love in our lives, or you could do what I did. I celebrated with my wife yesterday so that I could do magic today. She knows how important magic is to me, and how I love doing it. So there is that. But I was glad. I was kind of I was actually a little bit nervous, like, oh, is anyone going to show up for this draft? But people did, and so I was really happy to see that, and had a great time. I ended up going 2-1, so 2 wins, 1 loss, and the loss was a heartbreaker. It was to a top deck. They got the exact card that just drained me out. It was one of those draining cards. It was like one of the Demir, I think like Hercule something or other card, where it's like for every artifact you drain, and also makes 2 Thopters. So they top decked that, and that's just what won them the game because they had a lot of artifacts out. So too bad on my end, but that's okay. Still had a lot of fun. I got 2 prize packs for my troubles, which will open up at the end after I show you the deck, as I always do. I'm going to show you the actual deck that I drafted tonight. I ended up going Golgari, so black and green. I didn't do well in Golgari when it was pre-release time. In fact, I was telling someone I did so bad I was a little bit nervous playing this deck because the cards I thought were great when I saw them in the pre-release, they turned out to really do poorly for me. But drafting around the cards was a big help, and so I ended up going 2-1, and the cards were they did their jobs, and they did them well. So I was really happy with the final results, and I'm going to show you the cards and the couple prize packs that I won. So let's turn the camera around and check it out. Okay, we're going to start here with the Jungle Hollow. Obviously, this is great for Golgari if you're in Golgari, because this provides you with both black and green mana, gains you a life when it comes in. It does come in tapped, though. When I was thinking of going Golgari, I really wanted to get cards that would hopefully ramp me a little bit, and so the Molt Tender was a consideration, since you can exile a card from a graveyard, tap it to add 1 mana of any color. Not great like in the extreme early game, but I thought it'd be okay. This actually didn't really come to anything big. It was just sitting on the battlefield most of the time for me. Stampeding Scurryfoot, I really like this 1-drop because it's not just a 1-drop. It's a 1-drop, but you can exhaust it for 3 and a green to make it a 2/2, and then you also get a 3/3 elephant creature token out of it as well. And it's an exhaust ability, which can happen at instant speed, which is really cool. I ended up drafting 2 of those. I like those a lot. And a 4th 1-drop that I have is the Engine Rat. This is great too. Death Toucher. For 6 total mana, 5 and a black, each opponent loses 2 life. So that's great for start your engines. It's also great for just, defending, because a 1/1 Death Toucher, a lot of folks don't want to get into that, especially if they have something that's, much bigger and would just die to this instantly. Wretched Doll, 1 and a black, decent card, 3/1 for 2. For just 1 black mana, you can tap it and surveil 1. Deathless Pilot, maybe one of the weakest cards in the deck overall. It's a 2/2 for 2, but you can return this from the graveyard to the hand for 3 and a black. Venom Sac Lagak, 2-drop, Death Toucher. Okay, decent card. Gibberick Omnivore, above statted card, but it's a vanilla card, 1 and a green for a 3/2. These are all good, little early plays. This card came down a lot. The Chitin Gravestalker. It's a 5 and a black, but for every artifact and or creature in your graveyard, it's one less to cast. So, it becomes, a 4-drop. If you have just 2 artifacts or creatures in your graveyard, and oftentimes that's what this came down for. It's a 5/4, it's a great stabilizer. Maximum Overdrive, this was probably the meanest and nastiest trick I had. I was playing one particular player, and I played this, and they just hated it in both the games that we played in our match. Instant speed, 1+1/+1, and death touch, and indestructible. So you're winning that combat. Although there was a really funny interaction in the game before the match that I lost. I went in for combat. They played their Maximum Overdrive. I responded by destroying their creature. They played another Maximum Overdrive on top of that to stack, and then I played my Maximum Overdrive, and the 2 creatures just bounced off each other, but we had 4 spells there on the stack. Pretty crazy. Runover is awesome. I like this a lot too. It's instant speed. So, like, if they're double blocking or something, you can run over and really just win some really good combats off of this card. Grimbauble, it's like a removal, gives something -2/-2, and it kind of smooths you out later on. You can sacrifice it for 2 and a black, and that's pretty awesome to smooth things out. Find lands you might need for, like, some of the bigger drops, or avoid lands to get some, better cards in your hand. Hellish Sideswipe is great with the Grimbauble because you can just sacrifice the bauble if you want for 1 mana to destroy any target creature or vehicle. And if it was a vehicle, you get to draw a card on top of that. But you can also sack other small things as well. Funnily, I had 2 foil spinouts. That was pretty crazy. And one of these spinouts came with another spinout in the pack. So there was a lot of spinouts in that pack too. Veloheart Bike I like a lot. This is a green mana ramp. Add 1 mana of any color. Actually gains you 2 life as well. We have Hazard of the Dunes. This card is just incredible. It's a 4/4. Trample Reacher for just 4. And then you can exhaust it for 7 to make it a 7/7. So cool. Rover Blades. This was kind of my sleeper card, I guess. It's expensive, and I haven't heard a lot of good things about it, but I just feel like anything that gets double strike, and especially if they have trample like the Hazard of the Dunes or flyers that people can't block, it just becomes really, really hard. Just give something double strike. Comes down for 3, you can crew it that turn, or you can equip it for 4, which is a really high equip cost, but I think in these green decks where you're ramping and you have mana, it's worth it. Debris Beetle is a really cool artifact vehicle, 6/6. When it comes in, the opponent loses 3 life and you gain 3 life. Pretty nice. It cruise for just 2. Earth Rumble, I think, is even better. It's uncommon. 4 and a green, vigilance and trample, and you can actually crew it by just exiling an artifact or creature card from the graveyard. Cruise for 3 otherwise. Really strong card. Thundering Broodwagon, a great card as well. This is a 6-drop, but it's castable for sure. In this format, it's a removal spell for something that has mana value 4 or less, cruise for 3, and it's a 6/5 Menace Reacher. A rare that got Bloodghast. This didn't really come down. It came down in 1 game, didn't do a whole lot, so can't speak too much about the Bloodghast. And Atchik never actually came down. This was one of my first picks. But the problem with this card, and this is what I had in pre-release as well, when it's near the beginning of the game, and if this is just one of the few things that you have to cast, and you don't really have a graveyard, and I wasn't really milling too much, this really doesn't do anything, because you don't want to have a 6-drop for a 3/3. That's just a terrible rate. You really need to be getting those insects out. But unfortunately, that didn't really happen too much with Atchik today. But I will say I didn't really draw her too much, so I wasn't too unhappy about it. But that was the deck, 2-1, did well, was happy about it. So let's go ahead and check out these Aetherdrift play boosters. I got 1 for each match win out of 3. So let's see what we get. We got a pilot token, Foil Mountain, Fang Druid Summoner, Zahur is the rare. Ooh, we got Duretti as another rare. Cool. Path Cruiser, the Runner, the Guardian, Compactor, Spin Out, the Bike. Pretty cool stuff in this pack, especially for a limited. There's that. And here is our second prize pack. This one we have an art card. Looks like it's winter. We got the Falls. We got the Ticket Tortoise. Ooh, look at this mythic Sub Sunan Luxa Embodied. I think this is one of the best limited cards you can get from what I hear. I haven't tried it yet. Spell Pierce. And I think the rest are just commons and uncommons. But thank you for watching, guys. I hope you guys have a great time drafting Aetherdrift. I've really enjoyed it. So we'll just see you next time.